And we're back. You're tuned into Sport Federation TV. Joining me now from the world of baseball, specifically Cape Town Baseball Federation, we have Leon Fester and Warren Manshon joining us. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Yes, well, both of you serve on a very high level in Cape Town Baseball Federation. With you, Leon, you're currently the president.
Correct.
And you're the head of junior baseball.
Correct.
Okay, how did you both get involved with this sport?
Well, for me it's a family sport. My dad was involved in baseball, my uncles, my cousins, and at the age of 9 I was introduced to the game. So I've been playing it for the last 35 years. Having played the game, having seen what it can do for me, I stepped up and decided I need to make sure that baseball is protected and still played in 20 years from now. So I've accepted administrative positions within my club and within the federation to help grow the sport.
What has it done for you?
Man, just playing sport, and especially a team sport, something like baseball, teaches you not just physical and motor skills, but the camaraderie, the friendship, the relationships that you build with people, and interacting with so many different people. So, you know, your opponents, as well as all the umpires and spectators, teaches you a lot about respect and about being aware of how many people are needed to actually make the game work. So administrators is needed all around.
Yeah, they're the backbone of every sport. Hey,
Yeah.
Warren, and with you?
Yeah, mine goes back a long time back, 1978, 79 to be precise. Started out in Westridge. I'm a Mitchell's Plain kid, basically. Started out in Westridge, played cricket, and one day at the Oval, myself and a few of my mates, we walked across the hill, and there we saw these guys with these funny uniforms and running around and making a whole lot of noise, and yeah, immediately we were attracted to the sport because we noticed that you had more than one batting turn, and I think we were sold right there because you know, in cricket, if you were out, you were lucky if you came to bat in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So
yeah.
that sold us right there, and yeah, that's where it started. And so all these years later, now I find myself no longer on the playing field, but as an administrator. And like Leon has said, it's taught us a lot of life lessons. And the sport needs administrators, and you know, we're serving communities basically. And at the end of the day, it's a voluntary in a voluntary capacity, but you try to do your best at all times, basically. You know?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, the sports need administrators, but not just any administrator, the person with the right heart for it, but also the right skill set. Hey.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, we could. Everybody's got an answer. Or the solution, but not everybody's prepared to sit on the other side of the table, basically. So
yeah, or do
it's
the
a real
work for that
challenge.
matter.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Leon, you said that you've been playing the sport, and you
Yes.
still, you still play. How is it structured?
Well, I mean, baseball in Cape Town is largely formalized league structures. So we have 21 registered clubs, 110 teams. We administer leagues from Pee-wee age groups, so that's under 6. We've got under 10s, under 12s, under 15s, under 18s, and then our senior leagues, as well as a Masters League. So,
Right.
yeah, that's all the baseball that happens in Cape Town on a weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure the Masters League is probably the most fun league, huh?
Some of them are still competitive.
Yeah. Okay, and where are the clubs situated? I mean, in terms of facilities and so on.
Yeah, so baseball doesn't have a centralized venue. We all have a home ground or a practice field, which has been set up with the necessary baseball dimensions and safety requirements. You can play baseball anywhere from Strand all the way across the Atlantic seaboard to Fishhook, from Fishhook all the way up to Milnerton, from Milnerton all the way through to Durbanville. So anywhere within those quadrants you will find one of the baseball teams. A lot of the baseball clubs exist around the Athlone, Lansdowne area. Traditionally that's where baseball had moved to, but Kensington, Borisig, Bellville. We've got a team in Philippi who's dormant this year as well. And every year we're hoping to grow another club. This year we had one new club join us in the Kuils River area, so if there's anybody in Kuils River looking to get into baseball, please have a look at that club.
And how does one get into baseball? You know, there's a misconception for people who aren't involved in sports out there. They think it's a niche group, it's a clique, any sport for that matter. How easy is it? to get involved with baseball?
I think as easy as Warren said, you walk over a hill and you see the sport and you fall in love. The basic skills in baseball is being able to hit, throw, and run. And our players do that at various levels of skill. So if you can catch a ball, hand-eye coordination is needed, and the rest of it we can teach you. I think the desire to want to play and want to try something new, once you've played your first game of baseball, you're going to be hooked.
And for the person walking by who's going to see all these people having fun on the baseball pitch, who's the person they should speak to at the club?
Joel, generally most of our clubs are approachable. We typically have a coach and a manager who speak to the executives, but we're such a close community that you speak to one of the players and they'll gladly direct you to the nearest club.
All right.
Our Facebook page gets quite a few comments from players not based in Cape Town, and even international players asking, I'm going to be in Cape Town in the CBD, what's the nearest club? So we've got that communication running through our Facebook page.
Lovely. Now, Warren, your focus is the juniors, or your area of
Correct.
responsibility is the juniors. Hey,
Yeah.
tell us about that.
Okay, so junior baseball, I think, and like you alluded to earlier, you need to have the passion for it, basically. I always had a firm belief that any kid has an ability. Given the time that you get to spend with them and groom them and teach them correct fundamentals, basically, will ensure that in the long run, when the guys get to the senior ranks or from under 18 through to the senior ranks, the coaches there has a less harder job in polishing them, so the thinking is basically get the conveyor belt running early, get the parts put together in the correct manner at
Before
the
they
beginning
have
stage.
bad habits.
Correct. Keep the bad habits out,
Yeah.
and hopefully we get to the athlete basically that is really suited to play at the next level of participation. So at junior level it's all mass participation. Everybody's playing, everybody's having fun. Of course, any kid is competitive basically, and they all like to win. I think we all like to win. However, that aside, it is my role basically primarily to ensure that fundamentals are taught correctly basically, and that administration around the junior game is as best it can be. There's always going to be challenges. Kids, not all of them develop at the same rate. Some kids develop at a slower rate, others develop at a faster rate. And in baseball, we have 3-year gaps basically between under 12 and under 15, and under 15 to under 18. So you sit with a scenario where in under 15 age group, for example, you'll have a first year under 12 kid coming through versus a kid that's second year under 15 already. And we just need to manage that, and that emphasis is squarely on the clubs basically, and the coaching to manage that process basically, and to hold that kid's hand through the process. Again, nothing is ideal, but we need to work around it and make it the best it can be for Cape Town Metro Baseball, Cape Town Baseball Federation basically. So that's where we're at. There's been a lot of change in the way that teams are going to be selected going forward to national interprovincial tournaments basically, with the advent of Western Cape baseball as the mother body basically, and Cape Town is only a district now. So there's a lot of change, and Leon, he's got his work cut out on that front basically. But I think as a collective and as executive, we've taken the bull by the horns and we're running with it. So change is inevitable. It's got to happen, and we got to see that it happens basically.
Well, I guess then with most sports that are structured properly under SASCOC, you can have your district, your club level selections, then your district level, then your Western Cape, and your national. In baseball, you have talent scouts, or you have a panel that determines who were the top performers at an event?
So currently in the junior setup, basically, we've this year the first time that we've actually had accredited coaching courses being run basically, level O. There's 5 credits attached to it through a CATSETA, SACWA accredited basically. So for the first time we can actually put up a hand and say, no, well, the coaches are going through an accredited process basically. And obviously with that happening, we want to, the guideline must be that every coach is looking for exactly the same thing basically. we have method.
And that is?
Well, in baseball terms, people will know.
Yeah. Oh, you mean in terms of the talent that they
correct.
that they okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
The certain skill set.
Yes.
The athleticism, etc.
Yeah.
So that comes out with any code basically. From that perspective, I think we well in a way we have a massive collaboration, joint venture with Major League Baseball now, and that's one of the most exciting things basically that's
Is
happened to us.
when you speak about Major League Baseball, you're talking about the international
Major League,
circuit,
correct.
the stuff that we see on the movies,
Correct.
etc.
Yes.
I think every kid has got this dream to become a major league player, and I think now we've got a process in place whereby we can go through the steps basically. There's an opportunity in that we have a direct link between Cape Town or South Africa and New York now, and that's exciting because the scouts could come out just very soon. I think in a week and a half's time we're having Bull Homburgers coming out from MLB.
Correct.
We've just had Marco Mendoza from
Mexico.
MLB Mexico.
Wow.
That has spent 8 weeks.
And that's like the Man United Liverpool of baseball.
Correct. With the kids here, with the 15 and under kids and 12 and unders, and Major League, obviously their approach to Africa now is basically, or to South Africa is, we're going to go younger now. We're going to go look right down at grassroots level to see whether we could find the talent there basically. There's a massive drive, massive initiative from their side. Major League is also going to be entering into the school system with us basically as a partner. So again, it's a big plus
Massive.
for baseball.
It's a massive opportunity for
not
the
only in
youth.
Cape Town but in the Western Cape, Greater Western Cape basically, and that's vital. They've got the tools, they've got the expertise. Why not?
No, let's put it in perspective. Major League, if one of our people get into the Major League, what are the opportunities there for them? What kind of lifestyle can they look forward to?
I think, well, this is the equivalent of the English Premier League to the guys. You've made it, right? You're not going to be worried about money. You're not going to be worried about endorsements. But I think when you get to that level, you are playing with a different passion for the game. You're still playing as a youngster, as a kid, for the love of the game. I mean, the money's the bonus. South Africa has had a player, the first African-born player to play in the Major League, Gift Mwepe. He's from Gauteng, unfortunately. And he's kind of been the role model now. MLB has advised that there's initiatives trying, or clubs and countries in trying to get MLB sponsorships, and they're kind of focusing on Africa, knowing that we've got the talent. Our other sports codes, the bigger sport codes, have shown that they are world beaters. So we definitely do have the abilities within our population and our people to make a success. What we found is at a junior level, we've got an even distribution, basically, of kids from all different clubs making the provincial team.
So your transformation card looks proper.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're trying to definitely grow the skill level of our coaches through the MLB partnerships, and if not to get a kid to the major league levels, at least give them a college education. So that's the first entry point for us.
Absolutely, and there's amazing sporting scholarships available for youth that excel, especially overseas. You were speaking about SAQA accreditation, and that's amazing. That's, a lot of the other sports should take note, because we need to start accrediting our coaches and our leaders in sports administration. And coaching is probably the fundamental thing that you need to get the youth. And also, we need to have mechanisms in place to make sure that the right people are coaches, because we also have the Child Protection Act and.
Correct.
That's correct, yeah.
So, those are exciting projects, basically, that is currently underway, basically. And again, like I say, from a major league perspective, never was the time more ripe now for a young man to put his sights and focus on the end goal.
Why do you say man? What about the girls?
I think that's a fair statement. So traditionally, baseball has been considered a male sport.
All the sports in the world were traditionally male sports, but things are changing.
Well, we have embraced that. SABU as well as MLB have embraced women in baseball. So there's a women's
Major League
World
is-
Baseball Series
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah.
It's Japan won recently. So we're hoping to get some more girls coming back into
Okay.
the baseball.
And how many, do you have a lot of, I've had the privilege of interviewing some of the young females that excel in your sport from Lavender Hill and other places in
softball,
Cape
yeah,
Town,
yeah.
softball,
Yeah.
baseball.
Yes.
And is there a lot of young women that are showing interest in the sport
I think
currently?
yes, there is, and the problem that we've had is that we haven't had, we've not been allowed to have females in the provincial teams, so
Right.
that's been a barrier to girls continuing to play. Because what happens in some of our clubs where we've got baseball and softball, the family stays together. So if you've got a younger brother, younger sister, ideally you end up playing the same sports, that you don't go
Right.
to different venues. But when you get to age 16, you know, where do you go to from that? So we're encouraging Sabo to actually create the girls' provincial teams, the girls' national
Right.
teams.
Especially with the opportunities that you spoke about that's being availed to Baseball South Africa, the girls should be getting involved. Hey,
yeah, no,
we
definitely.
we need our children to play sports that are
Yeah.
going to take them somewhere.
Correct.
So just on the junior side as well, obviously another partner is the Department of Culture, Affairs and Sport, basically,
Yeah.
and as well as Department of Education, Western Cape Education Department. So currently we have set up an interim structure basically for baseball for schools within the metro. Again, in the Greater Western Cape, we have such structures going in the Cape Winelands, in the Overberg region, in Central Karoo, West Coast, and now as well in the metro. Baseball is offering, it's been offered as an additional offering for a summer code at schools basically.
Lovely.
And there's where the baseball 5 concept, we're hoping to drive that, especially in the primary school sector. Mainly because of you don't need so much equipment. You know, baseball is all about bats and balls and gloves and helmets, and that could become, sometimes that is a factor that
A barrier.
So we've now used the baseball 5s, which is a concept which was driven by the World Base and Softball Confederation basically, and it's used globally. You know, all countries are using it. So it's 5 players, whether you be in a quad, on the tarmac, on a field, you know,
At a cul-de-sac.
in a
in the road.
cul-de-sac,
On the beach.
on
That's
the
how
beach.
we did
It's
it when I
13
was growing
bases
up.
13 meters apart. You need a soft ball, basically a tennis ball in this case, and then you got 5 guys having a go, running the bases.
That sounds fun,
You know,
hey?
yeah, it teaches
Yeah.
pure fundamentals of catching a ball, hand-eye coordination, you know, running, and my discussion with the colleagues in the education sector is that, you know, we're developing athletes.
We're developing adults through sport.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we'd like to have it, obviously values, it's values driven, but the pure physical aspect of it is to get kids, get their movement skills going, you know, agility, awareness, spatial awareness, and those are all key factors basically in the makeup of a top athlete going forward. And we are trying to address that from a different platform basically. So like Leon said, the clubs are ranging from Somerset West across to Fish Hoek, back into the Lavender Hill, Wynberg, Chaka Road, Mitchell's Plain, Athlone, down across to Kensington, across to Bottersig, Bellville, Durbanville. You know, there's representation across the West, Cape Town basically. And you know, my dream, my dream, and I say this to Leon all the time, is, you know, we require a centralized baseball stadium for baseball only. You know, my experience is this, that codes like ourselves, dominated by other codes basically, bigger codes, because it's one facility, it's one field. If we were to get a baseball specific field basically, we could play baseball 7-8 months of the year, you know, and the spin-off of that will take the game to another level. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
You know, you're playing at the moment, you're condensing a league into less
Roughly
than 30
28 weeks.
Yeah.
28 weeks is what we've got, with the Christmas and school holiday break in between. So that also disrupts the program quite a bit.
So now you already have the foot into the major leagues. You just need a stadium to complement.
Not that big, 3,000, well, maybe 5,000 seater to start off with.
Easy.
That's not big. We're
Not a
looking
big ask.
No, not a big
But
ask.
we have a new mayor as of today, so maybe you can make them a baseball
maybe
player.
maybe he's watching and he's going to give us maybe
Yeah.
we'll get 40 million or something like that. No, I'm just, it's only a joke.
Yeah.
But ideally that is where we'd like to be. Because I
Absolutely.
think you know, in codes where parents are forking out a lot of money for their kids to participate at international level, how long can we continue in that vein? You know,
It's not sustainable
exactly.
the way people have to do it now. And the majority of the people in this country cannot afford to send their kids overseas. And the sports federations also cannot afford
Exactly.
to do it.
Yeah.
So people do what they have to.
So,
Hey.
and that's one of the reasons with us doing the name change, getting aligned with DCAS, is through the Western Cape Baseball Federation, we will now be getting funded teams going to the National Baseball Championships.
Yes.
So we can send the best players that could possibly go, not just
Without stress.
the best players who can afford to go.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
Lovely. Well, gentlemen, how can people get in touch with you if they'd like to realize your dream of having your own stadium?
Well, we have a Facebook page. It's on Cape Town Baseball Federation. We've also got an email address, admin@capetownbaseball.co.za. We're building our website, and Twitter will be following soon.
Okay. Well, thank you both for joining us. Thank you for the work that you're doing in the whole community and for helping making our children responsible adults.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having
Okay.
us.
Thank you for
Alright.
having us. Yeah.
After the break, we'll be back with another amazing sport and that Bashers competition. So please stay tuned for that.